Idaho is a beautiful place to live, but today we're going to talk about 10 more reasons you might want to avoid this place. Stick around. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Living Life in North Idaho. My name is Trent, and on this channel, we talk about what it's like living, eating, working, playing, and buying real estate here in Idaho. If that's of interest to you, make sure you tap the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so every time I come out with a new video, you get notified. And guys, I'm serious when I say this. Every single day, I'm getting calls, texts, and emails from people just like you that are watching this channel and they need a little bit more information before they decide if they want to live in Idaho, or they've made the decision and they just need some good people to help make that happen for them. That's why we're here. So if this is you and you're interested in moving to Idaho, reach out with a phone call, text, or email, day, nights, weekends, does not matter. We love helping people get moved to this wonderful place. So today we're going to talk about 10 more reasons you might want to avoid moving to Idaho. Now, this is just the facts. These are not necessarily my opinions, and some of these are going to be good for some people and bad for others. I'm just here to give you my experience of what it's like living here for 30 years, and I'll let you guys decide if this is something that you could deal with or if you need to cross Idaho off your list of places that you could potentially live. So let's dive in. The first reason you might want to avoid moving to Idaho is growing like crazy. Over the last couple of years, we had so many people decide that they were sick of the place they were living and they want to move to a place like Idaho. So there's been a lot of growth. So those people who are thinking, I want to live in a really small podunk town that doesn't have very many people, well, the major spots in Idaho are no longer like that. Here in North Idaho, we've gotten tens of thousands of new people that have moved here, and we weren't that big to begin with, so tens of thousands can make it feel like there's a lot of growth. Down in Boise, they've gotten a ton of people moving down there in the Treasure Valley area. Even in places like Twin Falls and Idaho Falls and Lewiston, they've gotten a lot of people. Now, can you still find that really small logging town here in Idaho? Absolutely. There's a lot of those around, but for the major places that people are wanting to live, there's definitely a lot of growth. It's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. I think we needed some growth. We needed a healthier economy, but for those people that were retiring and they just didn't want to be around people, it might not be the best place for you anymore. So you need to know if you're moving to Idaho, you're gonna be experiencing some growth. Number 2, the weather patterns are changing. This year especially, it's been a crazy year. We had record rainfall. The rain was falling all the way through June. Summer was super late. It really didn't start until July. And then it ended late into October, which is super rare. We had about 2 weeks of fall, and then the snow came, and it's been frozen ever since. Usually we don't have snow that sticks around until late December, early January, and this year we have snow already. It's really hard to predict what the weather is going to be in Idaho, and especially over the last couple years, it seems to be changing a lot. This year, back in August, we had a major hailstorm that came, golf ball size hail, which we've never seen in this area. Damaged my roof, my truck, gutters, my fence. I got to get my house repainted. It was a mess. Again, not something we're used to seeing up here at all, but it's good to know for anyone looking to move to Idaho, you really can't predict the weather and you've got to be ready for anything. Number 3, there is a construction season here in Idaho. Now, there has always been construction. Ever since I've lived here, there's always construction on the roads. There's a whole construction season where roads are getting blocked off and traffic gets kind of bad. And the reason is that our temperatures fluctuate so much. They can go above 100 degrees during the summer and they can get below 0 during the winter. That's really, really hard on asphalt. But the other reason there's lots of construction is because of all the growth. They are expanding the roadways going from down in Post Falls all the way up into Rathdrum. That's becoming a major arterial. They're looking at expanding the freeways going from Post Falls through Coeur d'Alene. It's going to be $1 billion project. So There's a lot of construction going on. There's going to continue to be a lot of construction. It doesn't make your trips that much longer, even with all the construction going on the freeway passing through Post Falls. It might add a couple of minutes to your trip. If there's an accident, you might be sitting for 10 more minutes. So it's not like major cities where it can be an hour and a half, but that's in North Idaho. Down in Boise, there are some roadways that are incredibly busy, tons of traffic. You can get stuck for an hour plus if there's a bad accident. So with all of this growth, we are experiencing more construction, which does lead to more traffic. So important to know, when you move to Idaho, you're probably going to be seeing quite a bit of construction. Number 4. Now this might be the reason you want to move to Idaho, but if you're not aware of this, you might want to reconsider. Idaho is made up of mostly mountains, rivers, lakes, farmland, and in some areas, high mountain desert. In most places, you're gonna feel like you're in a national park. In fact, one of my favorite drives is from Coeur d'Alene all the way down to Boise along the river. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's a bit of a treacherous drive because there is so much wilderness. You don't have major freeway or highway systems going through Idaho. In fact, there's not a lot of arterials. Idaho is awesome for people that want to be outside all the time. They like to go hiking, they like snow sports, they like motorsports, but there's only one major city, and that's down in Boise. It's not going to be like Southern California or Seattle or Portland. This is a place for outdoor lovers, and really, if you're not an outdoors lover, you might want to reconsider. Number 5, Idaho is 60% public land. That's right, the federal government owns over 60% of Idaho, which is really awesome for people who love to be outdoors and love to go exploring. But if you're used to a really basic, simple park that has signs everywhere and there's people patrolling and it's really difficult to get lost, this is not the place for you. There are not a lot of signs out in these public lands, and if you get lost and you don't have the right equipment, you better have some really good survival skills. And as you know, where there's not a lot of people, but there's lots of forests, there's lots of wild animals. So not everybody's comfortable with that. You don't have to go exploring in the public lands, but it is one of the things that makes Idaho a really great state. Number 6, now some people, they're really gonna hate this, and some people are gonna go, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'll let you decide which one you are. Idahoans are not down for heavy regulations and mandates. During the pandemic, the state tried to implement mask mandates and social distancing mandates. They wanted to implement fines, and Idahoans said, absolutely not. That's not your place to do that. We are not going to follow. So they had no choice but to drop them. Now, again, I don't need to share my opinion on this. This is for you to decide if that's what you're looking for. But it's important to know, when you live in Idaho, that's what you're going to be around. A lot of people that don't want to be around that. For some people, lots of regulations, rules, and the government telling you what to do feels like a nice warm blanket, some good safety lines so you don't get hurt. For Idahoans, they feel like that is a little bit like tyranny, and they're not down for it. So when you live in Idaho, just know Idahoans are not down for regulations and mandates. Number 7, to go along with that theme, safety is third here in Idaho. And what I mean by that is when you ride a motorcycle, as long as you're over 18, you do not have to wear a helmet. Yeah, you're not breaking any rules. There's not going to be any fines. You won't get pulled over for not having a helmet, which seems kind of crazy because if you get in an accident, you're pretty much done. I myself wear a helmet when I ride a motorcycle, but you will see a lot of people who are riding around without helmets. We're also a constitutional carry state. Now, if you don't know what that means that when you go buy a sidearm, you don't have to go and get a special permit or your fingerprints taken or get permission from the government to carry that and conceal that on your person. Now, I know a lot of people are going, that's insane. So just any person can go do that? Well, as long as you're allowed to buy a firearm, yes, you can. And personally, I think that's good because Idaho understands what shall not be infringed means. But as somebody who has served in the military, I do think it's smart to go take a class, get some training, get in the right mental headspace for what you might need to do if the situation occurs that you needed to use that sidearm. It's not just about stopping the bad guy, but also keeping the people around you safe. So I myself feel a class is good if you're a responsible citizen, but I'm glad to see that the government understands what shall not be infringed actually means. Number 8. Idaho is not a politically correct state. Now, for some people, they see political correctness as a sign of intelligence and empathy and your sensitivity towards your fellow man. Idahoans see it as an infringement on the freedom of speech. Now, that's a double-edged sword. There are oftentimes signs and stickers that I see that I go, I'd rather not my kid have to read that. But at the same time, I'm glad to see that people can express themselves. They have the ability of freedom of expression. So Idaho is very much so a strong freedom of speech state, unless you're all for restricting the freedom of speech. Then you might be told to shut up. Number 9, Idaho is not for legalizing illegal substances. Now, I know this is a hot topic right now because in major cities, they're basically legalizing everything and it's all over the streets. So a lot of people are like, good.
Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. Okay.
Other people go, how do you call yourself a free state if you don't allow people to choose what they put in their own body? Now, I understand the debate. I'm not going to share my opinion. I will say, though, that a lot of Idahoans feel like marijuana should be legal medically because it has been proven to help those with PTSD. I have some friends that served that really struggle with PTSD. They've been on multiple different medications. Medical marijuana has been the only thing that has helped them. But they also know that this might be a really slippery slope and it could lead to a lot of problems. So the benefits might not outweigh the reward. So even though Idaho is surrounded by states that have legalized marijuana in some way, shape, or form, Idaho has no plans to legalize it, and I don't know if they ever will. Number 10, people here are a little bit different. Now, at the end of the day, I can tell you with certainty, after 30 years, I feel like I've figured out Idaho. I think Idaho has been that state for people that just were tired of trying to fit in everywhere else. And they wanted to come here and have a fresh start and live the way they want to live and let other people live the way they want to live. I know I said in the last video that Idaho is a very conservative red state, but at the end of the day, we do have a mix of people and the attitude has always been independent of everybody else. Just you believe what you want to believe, I'll believe what I want to believe, and just let's leave each other alone. And I think what happens is as more and more people grow and you're closer to people and you're around them more, you start to change those opinions. But I know for a fact that Idahoans, they want to keep Idaho a little bit different and not go along with all of these things that are causing problems in all these other states. So when you move here, understand you have the right to feel however you want to feel, but don't try to tell everybody else how they're supposed to feel. Idaho is a little bit different and we like it that way. So that's it, guys. 10 more reasons why you might want to avoid moving to Idaho. Again, these are just the facts. Some of it is just my opinion. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just for you to decide if Idaho is the right place for you to live. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give me a big thumbs up if you like this and make sure you subscribe and you hit the notification bell so every week when I come out with a new video, you're getting notified. And if you are serious about moving to Idaho, reach out to me and my team at the phone number and email address listed below. Day, nights, weekends, does not matter. We love helping people get moved to this area. And until the next one, I will see you later.